A very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. So today is the 16th March 2023, Thursday class. We will be continuing our sharing from this book, Unique Dhamma Code by me. The title of the book is Straight from the Heart, Unique Dhamma Code by me. Okay, we are at Unique Code number 41. We will continue from there. Today's code is quite interesting. The title is True Action. Normally, when we live life, we need to act. So, action is a very important aspect of one's life. So, what constitutes true action? Well, most people does not have the understanding. They act based on lack of understanding. And most people act according to whatever conditioning and belief system that they hold on to. That's why we call it that type of action is wrong action. Or we use the word acting according to memory is not acting at all. Just before you become enlightened, your memory is full of a lot of rubbish inside there. There is no real wisdom. Memory is knowledge, and knowledge is of the past. And most of this knowledge are born of our conditioning, belief system, our whatever thing that we accumulate over time as we go through life. Okay, as usual, before we commence the class, we shall have our usual Puja chanting. Let us compose our mind, develop the faith, Saddha, Virya. Then mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Okay, now we shall make the puja offering. Sadhu, 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 sadhu. Okay, let us now pay respect Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi. Dhammang pujemi. Sanghang pujemi. So developing this awareness-based meditation is very important. So for those who are attending this Thursday class, you will be able to do it because after understanding the unique Dhamma code, you would have by now have clear understanding of what the awareness nature within is. Without this understanding, you cannot develop the true awareness-based meditation. Then it's very difficult to develop true wisdom or true insight, to develop understanding of the true Dhamma, or the essential Dhamma that the Buddha had taught us. So this awareness-based meditation is very important. So to develop them, as I always advise, the fastest way is to bypass all the method, techniques, object of meditation. But if you are familiar with them, used to it, it's okay. You can apply it, you can use it, no harm. But for those who have the understanding, you only need to understand the four support to bring about this awareness-based meditation, where each of these support develops an understanding for you to be in the state of awareness. So to be aware, like I defined in the previous sharing, sati or awareness, you have to understand. So sati is an awareness before the knowing, when you are just aware, before the perception, before the arising of the aggregate of mind or the thought. Means only that nature which is aware. That is what sati is. So when you have sati, you have the silent mind. There is no thinking, no thought process, nothing. That's why the silent mind is your true mind, your true awareness nature within. So first thing first is to realize that mind. Then you will come to understand that state of mind which is without thought, beyond the thinking, beyond the thought process. So realizing that is very important. That's why the first support is relax. Relax into every mind state that arises. Relax your entire body and mind. Relax means don't do anything. Be completely free, at ease. No problem, no issue. Body and mind in a state of relaxation. Means no thinking involved. Then let the body and mind settle down. Then the second support is maintain awareness. Aware means just the awareness before the arising of thought, before the knowing. So don't try to do, don't try to know. All these are done by the thought. Make your thinking active. Stir your mundane mind. So what you need to do is maintain this awareness. Means whatever that arises within our form and mind, six sense door. You develop awareness, finish. Aware, finish. Aware, finish. Completely silent, just aware, aware. Make a note of whatever that arises. When there is contact, aware. When there is vibration, aware. When there is sense data impinging your senses, aware. Just aware, finish, aware, finish. By doing this, your mind decondition the heedless thinking. It just maintain awareness, no more thinking. Then the third support is to stabilize this inner awareness. When you don't try to know, don't try to do anything, as if you are dead, then the body cannot react to whatever sense experience that arises. Then it's just aware, finish, aware, finish. Like everything follow the physics experiment, the nature's law. Upon contact, the light bulb light up. So the lighting up is the conscious moment of the mind. But the moment living being become conscious, without wisdom, without understanding, it will latches on to the thought process. It will create the movement of the mundane mind, or what we call the arising of the thinking mind. So the stirring of the mind, the reaction to sense experience, they arise because of the lack of awareness. We are not able to be aware. That's why we straightaway stir our mind, react to sense experience. That's how the thought arise and proliferate. Then like the Buddha said, mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. When the mundane mind arises, all things arise. That's why Sankara Anicang, Sankara lead to suffering, dukkha. Then all of Dhamma, whether it's the condition or the unconditioned, they are all anatta, not a permanent unchanging entity, non-self, cannot be grasped onto, cling onto, hold on to. When you have the stability or awareness, you can understand all this. You can see the movement from that true mind, the awareness nature. How thought arises, how you stir, how you react, how you develop entanglement through your own delusion, wrong view, ignorance, avijja. And all this observation is what meditation is all about. The awareness that is silent will just observe and develop the understanding. And through this, we will come to know who we are, what we are, and how we function as a human being, and how we know the world, how we interact with the world through our senses. Then there is another nature that is beyond the thought, beyond the thinking, which is the complete stillness and silence within the awareness nature. That is tranquil, with clarity, without any movement, no words, no thought, no concept, no idea. It's just that nature which is aware within. So develop that stability. So the third support is to stabilize the awareness nature within. You can do these three, you will progress very fast. But to realize this, for most people, depend on your past cultivation or your past karmic inheritance or spiritual inheritance. It varies. Some can understand, just follow simple instruction, they will go into it very fast. Some, they try to be too smart or intellectual, or they use their knowledge to try to understand, thereby creating more thinking and more thought. And that one, they will not be able to develop it so fast. Because as long as you are not quiet, not still, not silent, not aware, you cannot stabilize it. Ability to stabilize it is very important. Then after that, the last support is after you have stabilized the awareness nature within, then you just relax and let things be. Don't try to know, don't try to do anything. Then stay around the heart area and let this awareness nature detect whatever that arises around your heart area. But this step 4, which is trust your nature to meditate, you normally don't do unless you have stabilized your first 3 support. Otherwise, you cannot do it, because this trust demands complete silence, complete stillness for it to arise. So be patient, stabilize the first 3 support first, until your awareness nature becomes very clear, very stable. Then only you try out the 4th support, which is trust. When you can do that, my nature will rejoice with you. Means you have done well. Otherwise, you cannot reach the 4th support. The 4th support has to be something that arises naturally when you have stabilized your awareness nature within. Okay, then for those who have already developed the stability of it, you can try out and do the 4th support. When you stay around the heart area, just let that nature detect whatever. You don't try to know, don't try to do anything, just allow it to run. Then when you are stable enough, you will come to understand a lot of things. Where the awareness nature without the thought, it is very sensitive. It can detect a lot of things. All your whatever vibration around the heart area where you locate your awareness, you will start to pick it up. Then even the awareness there, when you pick it up, initially it's like not stable yet. It's like it can still run. But later on, it will stay at a point. It will not run. It will stay. Then it will move also. It will move. Let it move. Trust means trust your nature to develop the movement within. Do not interfere with your thought. Do not try to know, try to be there and all. Forget about it. Just let it run. Then when it stabilizes, when it becomes very quiet and very still, then even the vibration that you detect initially, like the pounding of the heart or any vibration within your heart area, they will start to like slow down until very quiet, very still, like you cannot detect it, like no more movement. Don't worry, you just stay with that silence. When you stay with that silence, the mind will enter sati. The mind will enter sati. Then when you come out of it, everything you experience through your senses, they are all in sati. Then all your movement, activity, like magnify while you are there. Then you become like very sensitive. This mind can know a lot of things. Wherever you locate that silent mind, it can understand what is going on inside there. So this is how you should actually develop it. Then not long, if you are patient enough, that complete stillness or silence of the mind means the true mind, through its own movement, will detect the gateway. And when it detects the gateway, you don't have to know, you don't have to be excited. It will just happen. So different people go through it differently. They experience it differently. That's why they describe and explain it differently, using their own words. But ultimately, the movement is the same. It is that nature that detects the gateway and just move in. And when it moves in, a lot of things will happen. Like I shared with you all last night, all of your external yin-yang energy, they will like melt inside, just flow within. Then from there, the inner movement activity will arise. Only cultivator of the way who have this stability or awareness can understand the movement of the fourth support. And during that time, a lot of things will happen. Your mind will start to develop a lot of understanding. Then it will also experience the inner transformation, how it refines your awareness nature inside until the vibration become very, very fine. Until finally, over quite long period of cultivation or development of this awareness nature within, the vibration becomes so fine that you will start off another movement, which is the process of triggering of the collapse of the mundane mind. The mundane mind being gross cannot withstand the fine vibration that you have developed. Then a lot of things will happen, especially at your forehead there. Then later on is like a layer of consciousness, the mundane mind. It will like drop off, slip off. Suddenly like your brain there, completely free, clear. Like no more mundane mind, no more the gross thinking mind, everything gone. It's like a layer of consciousness just drop off. And during that time it's very, very amazing, very wonderful. The mind becomes completely different. Then that time your true nature will shine forth, become very stable, very clear. So you can do until that phase or that stage. My nature rejoice. Sadhu. Okay, invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakemokkadang Dhamma Svanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Svanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Svanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho. Vijajarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manosanang buddho bhagavati swakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko panaiko pajatang veditadbo vinohiti supatipano bhagavato sawakasanggo Ujupatipano bhagavato sawakasanggo Nyayapatipano bhagavato sawakasanggo Samijipatipano bhagavato sawakasanggo Yadidang catari purisa yogani Atta purisa pugala esa bhagavato sawakasanggo ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaneyo anuttarang punyang ketang lokasati sadhu Sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we'll continue from where we stopped. We are at Unique Dhamma Code 41, True Action. Okay. True action. There is this famous quote that I always share with Kanya meters. Acting according to memory is not acting at all. This is a very important understanding. Then how do we act if we don't act according to memory? We should act with wisdom, following the Noble Eightfold Path to free our mind from all suffering, or to be free of all suffering is true or right action. So you can understand this quote means you have good wisdom, but it's not easy for normal people to understand. Even cultivator of the way too may not understand unless you have developed the mindfulness within awareness to see clearly. Then you will come to this profound understanding that I have defined. Why acting according to memory is not acting at all. So this particular understanding needs to be understood. So here we are talking about true action. Like just now before we start, I spoke briefly. As we go through life, as we live life, we need to act. A lot of things need decision, need action. So if every living being who go through life, exists through life, need to develop a lot of action or perform a lot of action, then how do we act? What is true action? So most people, if they have not reflected or developed understanding of this word, action, they might not know what is going on. They just live life without understanding. They just respond and react accordingly. So when it comes to action, we need to ask ourselves, how do we act when we encounter certain situations in life, when we encounter certain problems in life? How shall we act, and how do we act? How can we develop the appropriate action, which we call true action, or right action, or perfect action? Means the way we act doesn't give rise to karmic negativity. That is true action. So when you can act righteously to resolve issue amicably, that is true action. When you act without the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion, without avijja, that is true action. Then how can we come out with the understanding to act that way? That's the reason why if we look at the teaching, actually the essential Dhamma of the Buddha stated it very clearly, and we can actually from there develop the understanding. Except the way it arises and happens, we are not told, and there is no explanation given unless you meet with a cultivator who really have the mindfulness and the understanding to explain to you. So what happened to living beings, or human beings especially in particular, the way we act, we always use a very standard approach to action. And most people, they know, they have certain views, opinion of things. Conditioning, they may not know. They are very conditioned, and they develop a lot of habitual tendency. Then they accumulated a lot of life experiences, belief system. So all this mental conditioning, belief system, views, opinion, conditioning, even whatever we accumulate within our memory, our brain, they are all the what they call experiences of life that we have gone through. So memory is always of the past. Memories are accumulation of knowledge from the past. So this accumulation of experiences that we accumulate as memory can be good or bad memories. Then all this that we have accumulated becomes our very deeply rooted views and opinions and conditioning and belief system that we have accumulated over the years, even through our education, the social media or whatever, through our discussion or our education system or whatever. You are molded in the way you actually develop that conditioning and belief system. That's why everyone is different, everyone is unique. Then from there, we act. And most of the time is memory. When you recall something through memory, then through your views, your opinion, your belief system, or whatever that you have accumulated, out of fear, out of selfishness, out of greed, out of insecurity, we act. That's why when you observe all this through mindfulness, through an awareness that you have developed, then you start to understand why living beings entangle themselves with so much problem. Because they always act according to their memory, which is full of all the conditioning, belief system, views, opinion, and even our desire, our craving, our fear, our insecurity, and including all of our delusion. Sometimes it's from our phobia. We act, we react, then we project our thought, and it triggers our fear, leading to worry, anxiety, then sorrow and lamentation. All this, the Buddha under the teaching call it dukkha, suffering. So what is suffering? What is dukkha? Whatever action we perform that has the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion will trigger our craving, desire, selfishness, and all those things. Even fear, worry, anxiety. And these are the evil roots of all evil. And these are wrong thoughts that condition our suffering, our misery. And all this suffering and misery is what I always define as what constitutes wrong thought. You have to understand this. It's much more important than finding out what is right thought. If you don't understand what is right thought, what is wrong thought, then you cannot cultivate. Because understanding wrong thought is more important. Even though the Noble Eightfold Path, it stated clearly the first path factor is right view, leading to right thought. That's why without right view, there is no right thought. So what happened is, before we have the Dhamma, before we have the enlightenment and the awakening, we don't have right view in it. So when there is no right view, no first noble eightfold path factor of samadhi, or right view. So without right view, we cannot act rightly. If your view is wrong, your thought, action, and speech and livelihood will also be wrong. That's why the whole Noble Eightfold Path collapsed. So without right view, we will constantly arise wrong thought, give rise to wrong action, speech, and thought processes, leading to wrong livelihood, leading to heedlessness. They call it delusion or ignorance. Yeah. We don't have wisdom. We don't have yoniso manasikara. We give rise to ayoniso manasikara, which is unwise attention at the moment of sense experience. And this is what is happening in the world. So now we have to be mindful and aware to find out what constitutes wrong thought, like what I have defined before. What is wrong thought? Wrong thoughts are thoughts that condition our suffering, our misery, which are mainly fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, and lamentation, our deep resentment, our envy, our jealousy, our misery. These are all wrong thoughts. So whenever you are not peaceful and not happy, means you are arising the wrong thought. And this is very important. Whenever you are unhappy and not peaceful, means the wrong thoughts are there. The evil roots are there. Means you don't have right view. You are not acting accordingly, which means you are acting according to your memory, which is full of your views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, the greed, the hatred, the delusion, the insecurity, the phobia, all those things. And if you do that, all these are wrong thought, evil roots, that leads to karmic negativity, that leads to potential unfolding of negativity of karma. And like the Buddha said, we are all born our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. And we are what we are because of our karma. And if we don't take care of karma, our karmic nature will fall. Then we reap what we sow. Whatever suffering, misery, delusion that we have committed through our wrong action, speech and thought process, they will come back and haunt us because we reap what we sow. Do good begets good, do evil begets evil. And we are born of all this karmic action. That's why the 5 daily contemplation, the Buddha wants us to constantly reflect and contemplate. Why did the Buddha advise us to reflect and contemplate daily? That we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. And we are what we are because of our karma. So based on this understanding, we know our entire life, almost 99.9%, depend on karma. Because we are born of it, heir to it, conditioned supported by it. And we are what we are every moment, every instant because of that karmic thing. So if we don't take care of karma, means we don't take care of our action, whether it's through thought process, through our speech, or the way we act. Means action, speech, and thought. Because these three will define how we live our life. So all of our action bring forth karma, good and bad. So if you don't know how to act, means you don't have the Dhamma, you don't have right view, you don't have understanding, then you will always get yourself into trouble. Because you will act based on the basic, what they call human accumulation of memories, which has our views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, and all those things, which I earlier have explained. So if we act according to our memory, which has a lot of this fear, worry, anxiety, phobia, belief system, your views and opinion, that has a lot of duality that leads most of the time to conflict, to misery, to fear, to worry, to anxiety. And if you act according to this, you are not acting at all, because if you act out of fear, out of insecurity, out of your phobia, out of your whatever tendency like selfishness, anger, hatred, envy, jealousy, emotional negativity, all this has the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. So all these are wrong action that trigger off karmic And whatever that we arise through our thought process develops the conditioning, because through belief system, through views, opinion, habitual tendency, we develop this so-called conditioning that actually give rise to mental intention from memory and all these views, opinion, and conditioning for us to act. That's why when you act according to all those accumulated rubbish, which is mainly memory that has the evil roots, triggering all the wrong thought, then it will lead to wrong action, wrong speech, wrong livelihood. Everything will collapse. That's why negativity or karma will follow. Suffering, affliction, misery will follow. So now, after I explain this, you will start to have better understanding why I say acting according to memory is not acting at all. This one, you have to reflect on it, contemplate on it, and develop your own mindfulness to see whether this statement is true or not. You find out, if you don't act according to your memory, which is all of your views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system, etc., that I explained just now, then how do you act? Most people cannot act apart from that. They always use their views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system, and they act from there, including their fear, their phobia, their anxiety. Sometimes it's their deep resentment, unhappiness, or remorse. All these are negative tendencies with the evils, born of wrong thought. And apart from that, they don't have other way to act. They always need knowledge, need to read up maybe books or social media, or listen to what lectures or even sermon or religious sharing or speech. Then they accumulate those as memory. Then from there, they try to apply it into their daily life, which they call action. But as long as you accumulate into memory and do not reflect, contemplate to develop the wisdom, you cannot act otherwise. Your memory, which is your views, opinion, belief system, and conditioning, even your religious view or whatever, you will act according to that. And there is always this duality or delusion. If you cling on to your religious label or belief system, you will establish duality of right and wrong. Because whatever that is not in accordance with your religion or belief system, you will reject. Whatever that accord, you will support. Then you will act accordingly. But this will bring forth more conflict, more misunderstanding. That's why the world have enough problem, born of race, racial discrimination, born of religious differences, born of labeling each and every citizen in accordance with their country's origin. So these are all the division that thought has created. Then of course there is also a lot of other division that thought create apart from all these few basic ones. Through the word right and wrong, it created a lot of conflict, argument, wholesome, unwholesome. All these are duality. And you hold on to duality, you will continue to have misunderstanding, conflict, and difference of opinion. And all this action according to memory, based on knowledge, is not wisdom, not the understanding born of meditative training, especially awareness-based that observe and understand all this. So if we observe and understand that acting according to memory is not acting at all, then how should we act? Apart from memory, how should we act? That's why I say all these are in the essential Dhamma of the Buddha. The Buddha spoke many parts. The law of karma, the 3 evil roots, the 5 mental hindrances, the 5 spiritual, they are all part and parcel of his essential Dhamma. Then if you understand them all, then it will fall into place like a jigsaw puzzle for you to understand why acting according to memory is not acting at all. Then what is true action? Well, the Buddha taught us yoniso manasikara, wisdom at the moment of sense experience, sense contact. Means when you act, you must have yoniso manasikara. That wisdom that you have developed through your meditative training. The 3 types of wisdom that correspond to the 3 turnings of the Four Noble Truths. Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya. These are all in the essential Dhamma. And this is what Yoniso Manasikara is. You have developed all those understanding, wisdom born of the 3 turning. Of course, first turning is we are listening. In the olden days, we have to listen to the sutta or discourse of the Buddha. Now you can read about it through the books, the internet, and even listen through the recording or the they call it pen drive and all this thing. In the early days, of course, it's cassette player, the VCD tape and all this thing. Then we have this what they call that disk, computer disk, you call it floppy disk last time. After floppy disk is your later on is
still disk. Still call it disk.
Still call it disk. What type of disk is that?
Disk.
Disk. Okay. So this is metallic.
Oh, CD.
CD, CD. Sorry, CD, not a disk. CD.
Compact disk. CD stands for compact disk.
Compact disk, yeah, compact disk. My daughter luckily explained to me what CD is. Yeah, compact disk. All the information stored there. That's why you can have VCD, video CD. Then DVD. I don't know what is DVD. Digital video disc.
The encoding is different.
Encoding is different. So all this has actually evolved until today. We don't have to use them actually, because the pen drive, the hard disk, everything has very powerful and very high memories. The chips are now very different in their design approach, and they have so much storage, data, everything, and the whole artificial intelligence and the IT revolution technology has transformed us, the way we live life, the way we understand things so differently. That's why now Suttamaya Panya, you can actually develop it in many ways. Not necessarily just listen to the discourse of the Buddha. You can go to the internet. You can have a lot of research, books, everything. Yeah. So the danger of all this nowadays is it has its pro and con, because not everything in the internet or in the book, even the book, are the correct teaching, are the appropriate teaching that you develop the understanding. And because of that, cultivator of the way must have the good karmic root, karmic path. to meet up with people that have all this understanding, to explain to them so that they can assimilate all this understanding. So first turning is through listening. After you listen attentively, then you develop some form of understanding because you know how to screen the right Dhamma from the what they call inappropriate al-Dhamma. How do we screen? Like the Buddha said, under this Kalama Sutta, he advised the Kalamas, how do we screen? Yeah. So the screening is very easy, the Buddha said. Whatever you heard, whether it's from people or famous author or famous people, religious figure or whatever, or even the holy book, don't believe, he said. Don't believe. Listen, then put it to test. Investigate upon it. But if it's the truth, it will stand up to investigation. That's why under the salutation to the Dhamma, the Buddha explained this under the essential Dhamma, salutation to the Dhamma. He says, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. Well expounded is the Dhamma by the Buddha. And what is this Dhamma? The characteristic of this Dhamma. He said, this Dhamma is sanditiko, can be realized in the here and now before you die. That is the characteristic. If you cannot find that type of Dhamma, then forget about it. Then apart from sanditiko, is akaliko. Sanditiko, this Dhamma, akaliko, is timeless, beyond thought, beyond time. If it's thought-based, you cannot find this teaching. That's why this teaching is beyond thought, beyond time. It's akaliko. Then this teaching is ehipasiko. You can come and investigate into it, but it's the truth. It will stand up to investigation. So you see the beauty of the Dhamma that the Buddha has defined. He said this Dhamma is sanditiko, akaliko, ehipasiko, that opanayiko, leading inward into the heart. That's why we have to detect the gateway for it to go in. Or listen from the heart. Then pacetang, veditabo, venohiti. The last characteristic is this Dhamma is pacetang, can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. And this is how we investigate. This is how we find out. Then he explained further to the Kalamas. If you're scared, you are not able to discern it and investigate it, then whether to follow or not to follow, he teach them a simpler way to apply the essential Dhamma. He said, whatever people teach you to do, you check. If you do or follow the advice, does it harm yourself? Does it harm others? If not, no harm. Give it a try. Then find out after that whether it's the truth or not. But if it's the truth, it will stand up the investigation. That's how the essential Dhamma as taught by the Buddha can actually lead us to all this beautiful understanding. So first turning, already so powerful, Suttamaya Panya. Then the Buddha said, after you have heard the sutta, the discourse, after you have investigated into it, you should reflect on it, contemplate on it, then inquire into it to stabilize the understanding so that you can assimilate all this understanding into your nature to develop the stability of wisdom inside there. First turning is normally not that strong or penetrative. It's normally like a form of knowledge that you listen. Then you have not yet contemplated into it, reflect into it, inquire into it, and put it to test. So that phase is what the Buddha called the second turning wisdom that we have to develop, Chintamaya Panya. We have to reflect on what the Buddha said. Like he said, don't believe. Whoever tell you, don't believe. Investigate into it. First, apply Kalama Sutta. If I follow this, does it harm me? Does it hurt me? Or does it harm others and hurt others? If not, why not? Like the 5 precepts. If you follow, does it harm you? No. Does it harm others? No. That's why that is the teaching that will stand up to investigation. Then when you reflect and contemplate, then you realize all those who break the precept, they have the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. That's why the essential Dhamma come in and fit into the whole essential Dhamma that the Buddha taught. Then you realize these are major evil that you cannot violate. That's why the minimum is the 5 precepts. Because these are moral rules based on nature's law, based on the Buddha's wisdom that realize it. That's why he administered it to lay people. And the monk has more. The basic minimum, the 5 precepts, that constitute major evil. So this is how we put the test. We reflect why the Buddha say under the first precept, Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Means we undertake the training rule to abstain from killing and causing harm to living beings. Who will kill and harm? Straight away the answer come out. Violent people, deluded people, selfish people. The 3 evil roots are all there. That's why it will lead to evil, karmic negativity. If you kill and harm, you cause suffering to fellow living beings. In future, you reap what you sow according to the law of karma. It will come back and haunt you. People will harm you, hurt you, kill you. That's why all these are karmic related. Similarly, for the other precept you go through, because we don't have enough time. I have to stop soon. So, after the first 2 turning, you will develop the initial wisdom which the Buddha called Yoniso Manasikara. Then after that, you meditate, awareness-based meditation, to develop the 3rd turning. The 3rd turning is Bhavana Maya Panya, wisdom born of Bhavana, meditative training, awareness-based training. So this Bhavana Maya Panya will give rise to penetrative wisdom, the direct seeing, the insight into phenomena, the 3 universal characteristics. You will awaken. You will realize the truth, awaken and become very different. With these 3 types of wisdom, your Yoniso Manasikara become very stable, and especially with the 3rd turning, it become very penetrative. This is how you develop the Dhamma wisdom, or they call it the Yoniso Manasikara, wisdom at the moment of sensation. You have means you have, you don't have means you don't have. You cannot learn from people. You cannot ask people. Because what they tell you is based on their understanding, their wisdom, their awakening, or some their knowledge. But this Yoniso Manasikara is wisdom born of the 3 turning. You have to develop it yourself. Each and every one need to cultivate and awaken yourself, to develop the understanding yourself, stability. Then when you have this Yoniso Manasikara, you can act. You become different. You no need to act from memory anymore. This one will spontaneously arise and prompt you what to do, how to act. Because this is Dhamma wisdom. And this Dhamma wisdom is actually the complete essential Dhamma understanding that the Buddha has taught us, that he summarized under the Noble Eightfold Path. Because the Noble Eightfold Path has all his teaching, starting from right view with regards to law of karma, law of mind, and law of truth. The first path factor already so powerful. Then from right view, it leads to right thought, right speech, right action. Then right livelihood. Then the four right effort. Right sati and right samadhi. With the 8 path factor developed, you will know how to act. Because this is acting according to the Dhamma way, which is following the Noble Eightfold Path as taught by the Buddha. And this is the wisdom way, where the Noble Eightfold Path is Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, basically the meditation as taught by the Buddha. And when you have this Noble Eightfold Path, the embodiment of it, you are incapable of evil, no negativity at all. And everything in life, you can apply the Noble Eightfold Path. Then, according to the Buddha, the fourth Noble Truth, if you were to cultivate this Noble Eightfold Path, it will lead to the end of all suffering. And this is what meditation is all about, to realize the wisdom to free our mind from all suffering. That's how you realize Nibbana, the cessation of form and mind, the unconditioned, the state that is beyond thought, beyond mind. So all these understanding are there. That's why acting according to memory is nothing at all. So how must we act? We must develop this yoniso manasikara, then perfect the cultivation of the Noble Eightfold Path. Then use it to act. Means action must be based on wisdom and understanding following the Dhamma way. When you have that, then you know how to act. And that is true action. That's why the enlightened being act with understanding. They don't act according to memory, their views, opinion, and conditioning. That's why their habitual tendency, or slowly they will root out and no more. It will collapse and break down. Then true action always manifests based on the wisdom within that we have cultivated and developed. And that wisdom is very powerful. Every moment in life, every moment of sense impression, sense door activity or contact. That's why to be at peace with every moment, every instant while living life is not easy. Unless you have the Dhamma, the wisdom, you cannot be at peace. There will be suffering, there will be stirring of the mind, reaction and all. Unless you develop that type of penetrative wisdom which the Buddha has taught us, so that finally we can understand thing is just the way it is. Whatever that arises, there are causes and conditions behind. The isness of thing, tatata, suchness. Yeah. Condition like that, things will unfold in that way, that manner. So everything within the conditioned world, like the Buddha said, is dependent originating. Condition arising, causal phenomena. They have these universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. It cannot be otherwise. So this is the most important understanding. That's why I link up all the essential Dhamma and explain to you in detail today, so that when you listen to this sharing tonight again, you can understand it deeply and clearly. Then make the resolution, the strong resolve to cultivate, to develop the yoniso manasikara, so that you know how to act, so that you can have true action. And then that will take care of your whole cultivation. When you have true action, means you no more delusion, no more avijja. You can never go wrong again. Means your life will be beautifully streamlined. Then you will walk the Dhamma way beautifully. You will be able to cultivate beautifully. So all this understanding can unfold. It's not difficult. Okay? So I will read the quote again one more time. Then we will stop. Because already 9:43. Okay, true action. Dhamma quote 41. By now, I believe you all should have clear understanding of why I always share this. Acting according to memory is not acting at all. Then how should we act? We should act with wisdom, following the Dhamma way, or the Noble Eightfold Path as taught by the Buddha, so that we can be free from all suffering. But in the quote, I put it slightly different. I word it slightly. I say, act with wisdom, following the Dhamma way, or the Noble Eightfold Path, so that we can be free from all suffering. And that is true action. So this one, you can understand, it will help you. Then hopefully with that your faith will strengthen. Then you will make the resolve not to act according to memory anymore. But initially very difficult. Your memory always come into your habitual tendency to condition you, to stir you to have that type of behavior. So initially, I remember in the early days, before my nature awakened and developed the wisdom, I realized, I traced back, living beings, no wonder they suffer, because they only act according to memory, which is their views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system. That's why the moment I heard J. Krishnamurti quote this, acting according to memory is not acting at all, without all the other explanation, my nature straight away rejoiced and knew that is a very powerful statement. Because initially, I also didn't realize that memory is the accumulation of all this. Because when I was aware, I know it's my views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, and all these things that make me like that. But I didn't have the ability to relate it to memory. And memory is accumulated knowledge of the past and all things. And that one, when I heard Krishnamurti sharing, his sharing is very difficult to understand on. Unless you have the Dhamma or the understanding and the awakening, you cannot understand him. He is like very controversial, like contradict a lot of things where religion is concerned. But when you understand, there is no contradiction at all. It's just like meditation. Wherever there is a meditator, there is no meditation. Very true. He has all this understanding. Then he is very clear about the thought. Although he don't use the word the true mind, the Monday mind. No. He always use the word thought. Then that nature, he described it differently. So all this, if you have the understanding, my nature rejoice. Okay, so now we can continue your second session, which is meditation reporting, followed by whatever question you may have. So the question can be anything concerning the Dhamma, the teaching, or how to apply this teaching to help you understand life and resolve your life situation or problem. The other one is question on meditation. So if you report your meditation, then I can guide you. But if you want to ask question, you also can go ahead. Then the third one is to discuss what we have gone through today, what is true action. And you can also share whatever you have developed through your own cultivation as Dhamma in daily life.
Hi, Brother Teo.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, Brother Teo. Mrs.
Yeah,
Teo
good
and
evening.
everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, this past few weeks, I felt that like it's easier to understand what Brother Teo has been teaching.
Oh, very good. Sadhu.
It's not like I didn't understand previously, but now when Brother Teo, I find that it's more meaningful to listen to Brother Teo.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know why or not? Because your understanding has starts to stabilize, slowly stabilize. That's why you can follow, and there is a lot of joy, and you find it very easy, much more easier than last time to follow. And this is a sign of good understanding and progress. Otherwise, you cannot. When you start to find interest in my sharing, means you can start to grasp it and appreciate it. That is the beginning. Then your faith will be stronger. Then you will go through that phase like what you go through. Last time you cannot understand. Why suddenly now you start to develop the ability to understand, and it's like more easy for you to follow and develop the understanding. This is the normal progress of a serious cultivator that has the faith and constantly listen to the sharing and develop the diligence to cultivate. Yeah, Manjat.
Yeah. Okay. And then when Brother Teo, like now, when I attend the class, I listen already. Then in the morning when I go to work, I listen again. There's more things that I
a lot
discover
more
that
things will come out.
yeah.
That's why the more you listen, the deeper is the understanding will surface. Before you capture them, especially the first sharing, when you just listen to all this online and all the thing, or even at the talk, you are not able to grasp everything yet. Because most people cannot. You have to go through what they call the stability of understanding to grasp. Then when you are on your own with your own free time to listen attentively, which a lot of Kayamita did, like Sister Alicia, Ingbi, they all, and many other Kayamitas who listen attentively, like what you go through, the understanding become clearer and clearer. Then like there are so much more things. Like on that day of sharing, a lot of those things were not picked up by you. But when you listen to it in the car, all those things start to surface. And the more you listen to it, different again. Especially those who do the transcript, they listen and they use the what they call computer to actually move it back and listen again. Sometimes to catch the words for you to translate or to do the transcript, they have to listen a few times. Even that simple speech that I make, let's say within the few seconds, I say all those things. They cannot reproduce it in the transcript form to form the sentence. They can't, I can assure you. Most of them can't. They have to listen again. Unless they have the understanding already, then the joy and the clarity, then initially they will try to write down. And they get most of it, but not all. But not according to the sequence of words that I use. Then later on they listen again, they realize they miss out some or some of the word is wrong, then they adjust. And then when the whole transcript come out, when I edit it, it become beautiful. Yeah. So this is what will happen. Sadhu to you. You are. Correct. When you say you go to office, you listen again from the car. It's very different.
Yeah. And then radio, sometimes like not so, how you say, not so 介意, what's the word in English? 介意 lah, not so 介意 with what the things that I used to be upset about.
Yeah, I know. It means the Cantonese word. You no longer like last time hold on to all those things that we call it your conditioning, your rigid conditioning, views, opinion that you hold on to strongly. You no longer like hold them like before. Means that word they căm cài rồi đó.
Yeah.
Which is very good. That is a sign of the Dhamma wisdom slowly seeping in. When it's slowly seeping in, you will come to this realization that a lot of these things that you used to react and stir your mind, you're no longer interested to do it. That's how you progress. That's how your mind does not stir that often anymore, does not react to sense experience, the duality, less and less, less and less. Then there will be more space between thought. And that is how one progresses. Very good. Sadhu.
I have this not so not so affected by other people's action.
Correct.
But
How
even,
they reply or how they say things, you
yeah,
are not affected like before already. This is
yes,
a good sign. That is true sign of progress. That you have changed. You have developed the understanding to be more appreciative of life and to accept people for what they are. To listen more instead of stirring the mind, reacting, and want to comment and all those things. No more. That's why you can be at peace more and more, more and more. Oh, that is a good sign. Sadhu to you, Anyan. Hope that
but
you can understand.
yeah, brother,
Uh,
it's like this kind of behavior, like more inclined to like colleagues, family members, not so easy yet, but
Correct.
also got I felt
That is very true. Yeah, family member, not so easy. Yeah. But you will overcome it sooner or later. No problem.
yeah,
Uh,
I like got like many instances uh like my colleagues doing mistakes that I see that I
yeah.
previously like think it shouldn't happen because senior already,
Correct,
nothing
correct,
also can
correct.
happen, but don't have
Very good.
yeah, I that one quite very clear.
Do you realize one thing, Marian?
Yeah.
Nowadays you tend to be more cheerful. You smile more.
That one I'm not sure.
Last time you very reactive one. You hold on to your view very strongly one. You bosong means bosong. I remember in the early day. Nowadays you are more cheerful. You are more like happy. That understanding, that joy. Then also as a person you have become different. Even though you make up more, dye your hair, but for the better. Uh,
Oh,
you come out of that old Manyuan. That old Manyuan no more. Now the new Manyuan is beautiful.
hopefully I can go deeper and deeper in that
No
direction.
problem. That's why Sui also smiling. It's
Oh,
joys for you.
oh, thank you, Hui.
Yeah.
Yeah, but another thing I realized like the people like attitude also change.
Definitely one. Because
Like,
when you have this understanding, you radiate that type of love, that type of joy, and then they will treat you differently. Then they will like you one.
I don't know, lah, brother. Maybe this one like this one the most like that surprised me. But I don't think it comes from me. Cannot be like no,
it comes
really,
from your
because I
change.
don't think
Your
cannot be.
nature's behavior has changed. That's why it happened. You describe.
This one I really okay. Never mind, I say first. Brother, I only have two nephews, right?
Yeah.
I have, so these two nephews are from young. Wow, to me very naughty, but even to their parents also.
Correct. Rebellious and all those things.
Correct, yes. Ask them to go study, never study.
They never listen to you, huh?
And never, not only to me, don't listen to the parents also.
Yeah.
Talk to them sometimes.
But now it's different, isn't it?
Different. Because
they look at you differently. That is what Dhamma has this ability to transform people. That's why after 1989, I realized whoever who have the condition to talk to me, they can feel you, and they become very different, then they respect me and all those things. So your nephew also will have that type of behavior, which you think is not because of you. It's definitely because of your character has changed, your personality has changed, your approach towards life and towards sharing with them has changed, and they can sense it, they can feel it. They still won't listen to their parent and all things, but they will listen to you. That's what will happen when you have the Dhamma, where they find you different. You no longer like last time, nag at them, scold them, tell them off and all. No more.
Cannot go until they don't listen to you, ma. Like I talk also like talking to the wall. Exactly
last time is like that, definitely.
Now, I noticed the change because we went for holiday last year lah. Then I think, attitude change.
Definitely. They respect you now, isn't it?
Yeah. And also become more considerate lah.
Yeah, more considerate, more caring.
And also more responsive.
Yeah, more responsive, more responsible, and all those things. That is what Dhamma is all about. It has this power to cause things to transform for the better. Really, it's really like that. Yeah.
Then really magic.
Yeah, it's like very magical, amazing. That's why sometimes I say, they say fairy tale. This is more fantastic than fairy tale. Really, you can see the transformation, and you can see how people relationship improve tremendously. Even you look at Alicia. Last time cannot get along with anybody. Now her personality, she applied the Dhamma, the Noble Eightfold Path. She becomes so different, so cheerful, and
yes. She
almost
becomes
everybody like her.
positive.
Very positive. She got a lot of gratitude, unearned, all those things.
Yeah.
Sadhu, very good. Wow, today your sharing is fantastic.
Thank you. But actually, it is from you also, Brother Teo.
Definitely, also it has to develop all this through your own karmic conditioning and past affinity. When you have the faith and when you listen attentively, all this become possible. Then when you go through this process of transformation, you start to understand the beauty of the Dhamma. That's why you now can follow easily and you have more joy and you can apply all this so-called Dhamma understanding. And this is what Dhamma is all about. Luckily, we nominated you. This sharing is very good. These are all Kayamitama listen. And this is beautiful. Your approach is just developing the understanding. You listen, you attend the class, then you go to office, you listen to the tape again. And this is what the 10th step of the Avijja Sutta is all about. First step is have Kayamita friends, means Dhamma friend. Then constantly listen to the Dhamma, the Dhamma sharing. That one is very important to develop the faith in the third step. Then after that, your Yoniso Manasikara step 4 will come. And when your Yoniso Manasikara come, it will transform you. It will make you different. That's why you start to see all this. You will have more moment of silence between. Means that space between thought. Then your daily mindfulness will slowly fall into place. Then you realize through all this understanding, you are less reactive already. Your mind does not stir so on. So a lot of things that matter to you a lot no longer matter to you now. And you can accept people the way they are. You can understand your colleague better. You can have better relationship with them. Now your nephew also you manage to break the ice and other things. Then later on your parent, your brothers, your own sibling, no problem. All this they can actually through the Dhamma understanding fall into place, and you become beautiful and they will respect you. That's why in my family, all my brothers sister, they call me when they have problem, they have situation or what. Then even now, my niece, my nephew, or you can ask me, they like to come and stay with me at my house. Uh, because they learn a lot of things. And there's a lot of Dhamma around. So this is beautiful. Yeah, sadhu.
Radio, and another thing, you always say that, don't do good because it's good according to you.
Correct. That one you have already mastered it, I think.
That one, I tell you, Radio, yeah, because I see that my parents are getting old, like 83, 84.
Correct.
So I try to like, because I see their friends going off also.
Correct.
Yeah. Sometimes I especially my father, my father don't really like to go out and eat or go out to visit places. But I kind of like, keep on pestering him.
Yeah.
So one day he suddenly said, "Hey, you don't do like that to me lah. I don't like it, then you don't do law." He says.
Sadhu. Then you start to realize what happened.
I realize it's like no use if I keep to me, of course it's so good, to go out and eat, to go places.
Correct.
To him, it's like obliging me, not
Yes.
happy.
And he doesn't like. That's why I say good according to one to you may not be good to that person. It's like that. So in the early days, the parent will do this to their children. Understand? They will scold their children, nag their children, and tell them off and all those things. We are good. They think it's good for the kid, so that they don't learn the wrong thing. Then as you go through like your parent age, then you worry for them out of love and all those things. Then you like try to tell them not to do this. But sometimes you must understand, Manyan, this part is very good since you realize it yourself. Like for me, later on, when my father was about near to 80 that time, he was quite sick. Then he got a lot of multiple problem. He got heart problem, he got BP problem, then he got gangrene, the leg because diabetic and all those things. So he seldom admitted to hospital. So finally, because he got no choice, he came down to KL, my sister and me, we warded him to HUKM. Then during that 1 or 2 weeks, I visited him. Then I heard him tell me, I said, he wants to go home. He doesn't like the hospital there. Then I asked him why. He said, every doctor they come and diagnose him, talk to him, of course they are quite friendly. They all give him antibiotic or no. And he eat the antibiotic until he got no appetite, you know. And he like developed that dislike in the hospital environment. So he keep on telling me he prefer to go home. He wants to be discharged and all those things. Then I have to make a decision because of that. So I told him, don't worry, I will find out more from the doctor your condition. Then I will discuss with my brothers and sister. Then we will help you to make that decision. Then when I check with my sister actually have access to his personal file because she worked there. Then she started as a nurse, then become a graduate nurse, then study the master, then he lectured there. That's why he has access and he discussed the doctor. Doctor said, based on the uh, medical uh, facts that they have actually collected through their blood test, everything. He said, your dad is having multiple problems. He said, most of the organ is quite bad already. He said, the heart almost 70% fail already. Then the gangrene complicated the thing, the diabetic, the BP, everything. So he said, at that age, you have to prepare for the worst. Then my sister came back with the report. Then I straight away make the decision and tell my brother, I said, forget about the hospital now. There is nothing much they can do. Better let father do what he wants to do. So we approach him and tell him we are going to help him get the discharge, but it has to be the next day because the same day cannot. Because I think the medical officer MO they call already not able to come by the round to give you the sign off. So we said tomorrow, the next morning. Then I volunteer to drive him back to Alasta with my sister. So what happened was we asked him, what would you like to do? Asam laksa, no, straight away tell us. No. So we get the wheelchair without the doctor's approval. We tell the nurse we are taking our father out for something he like. I saw the joy in him, no. This, he actually liked all those things. And he missed all those things. So that evening when he come back, you look at him, he's no longer like a sick man. He was full of joy and so happy because we did that. So sometimes, like your father's case, luckily your father not so bad at home, not in the hospital. So we have to feel the sensitivity, means we have to understand that. Because sometimes they don't like, I know one, I can sense it one. Then I will not like, I have not done this to force people to do certain thing one. Except in certain circumstances, like when I see there is a need, especially sometimes my wife, she in the early days she reluctant to see doctor and all those things. You always say never mind, never mind. I say no, you better go, because it's getting serious. Then later on, she also came to realize the doctor was my classmate, which is very good and very reliable, and the doctor is very approachable, and she now different. She even later on make the decision. I think we better go. I said, yeah, I take you. I take you. Then so many times, especially the last few visits, help her. Actually, she recovered and she developed good turnaround. And because of that, you have to understand certain time. You have to like raise your voice a bit and tell them, no, this is serious, life and death, don't play a fool. But if it's your life, you want to eat what or what, do what, I won't interfere. Yeah. Like Suri, you can ask her. I never interfere. She want to eat, she eat. She want to do what, she do. But she has the understanding, so no problem. So all this is what the relationship is all about. When you have the Dhamma, the understanding, you will never, like you say, try to do good according to our individual views, opinion, and belief system and conditioning. So this may not be the ultimate good. This may flip up to be coming. So in future, you are not careful, you continue to make your father like that. In future, maybe this life won't happen like you're not married. But in future, you were to go through the marriage life, you will have children who later on tell you off like in the way you tell your father off. Uh, out of good. Don't go out alone. Don't do this. Of course, we can advise, but ultimately we have to be sensitive to their life. I always believe their life. Let them live. So, like a lot of Kanyamita, they have problem with their children, especially their son or their daughter or what. I say you must understand one thing. They have their life. Let them live. Means their life, they decide. You as parent, you advise, understand? You have your duty, you have your role. But the final decision, leave it to them. So your case also same as a daughter, because of your filial piety, your love, no problem. You can actually advise your father. He said that I know you may not like all these things, but sometime in life we must develop the understanding that at your age you are no longer so like alert like when you are young. So you go out alone. You have to be careful. Yeah? Otherwise, you can ask him to call you. You can drive him there. But sometimes they don't like to trouble their children, I know. So if they can drive, they will still want to drive. But you have to really observe, then make that advice. Advising is good, but don't force them to do things that they don't like, so that karmically it doesn't come back to you. It does not like uh, come back to haunt the individual. So this understanding is very good. Wow, salute to you, Amanya. You realize a lot of good things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But now I still have another thing that I still cannot sometimes can, sometimes cannot. This one is my mother. Brother.
Ah,
I hope
definitely.
I'm not boring you.
Yeah,
Well,
no problem. You
my
will go
mother,
through. You
when
can
she take her
tell.
bath, it
Uh,
can be like more than 1 hour, you know. So I get stressed. I say, why you take so long? You come out lah. Then you can hear the water pouring. Keep on
yeah, yeah,
pouring for that 1 whole
yeah.
hour. You know that because my father would also get upset. You see lah, wasting water again. Then I will say, uh, but then after that I feel bad. You know, my mother old already ma, very slow, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he is thinking that it's not clean yet. Have to do wash some more,
Yeah,
wash
yeah.
some
There
more.
is a type of they call it a type of medical term, a type of sickness or no. My office
Uh,
got one no,
office also
about
got
my age or so. He keep on watching his hand one no, with the soap almost throughout the day. I said,
ayo,
David, why you do that?
ah,
He smiled and said, dirty lah. I said,
where got dirty?
one
Ayo,
day you wash how many times you know? No? I say I observing you go wash, come back, go wash. Every 10, 15 minutes, no, you do that. It's a disease actually. But your mother's case, okay lah, 83 already. David only 60 something. So that one is a disease. So for your mother's case, it's okay. I remember last time I saw a video, which is very good. This one is good for sharing. There's a video that somebody actually described this. He said, when our parents, when they grow older, we should actually develop understanding. Because when we are young, you know how patient they are with us or not. When we are a kid and all those things, we do whatever. They just smile, laugh, and allow us to have our way. But as they age, as they go through old age and their later part of their life, they also behave like children now, like when we are young. So if we reflect back, how they express their love, care, and concern for us when we were kids. We should actually also have the love, the patience to actually attend to them. That's why these are not easy, but can be done. That's why later part of my parents' life, I always held their hand and talked to them. Especially when my mother came down to stay with me, I always talk to my mother, and she very happy. Uh, she like me actually among all the 9 children. And he likes to come down to my place, stay with me, and because she was helping me looking after my 2 kids for almost 10 years, I think. And she get to go to the temple, listen to the chanting, and met up with my last guy also. So she was very happy. So because of that, we have to have this understanding. That's why when they are still around, that is the time to play your role. So for your mother also, be patient, understand her, hold her hand, and tell your father, no need to worry about the water wastage. Water bill very cheap, tell your father. So just let her have her way, but monitor her, because at that age, if they take bath on their own, make sure the toilet door not locked. You must tell them.
Oh,
Because sometimes they may slip or fall. You don't know. At that age, they are not so like agile, not so mobile like when they are young. So sometimes they need assistance or help. You should observe and help. Then, especially if they age further, you must tell them when they put on their clothing, sit on something stable and wear the clothing. Because to stand on one leg and put in the trousers or what is not easy anymore at that age. So you need to have stability and do it at a place where there is cushion around. Even they fall, it won't hurt them so much. So all these are useful. Okay, Maya?
yeah. Thank you, Brother Teo.
Lado,
But I was just thinking like, if she use so much water,
no
will that be
problem.
bad karma for her?
What is it?
Will it be bad karma for her for wasting water? I mean,
Oh,
to
no
her, it's
lah.
not
Aiyo,
wasting.
Manjuan. You know 1,000 gallon only how much? It's very cheap on my water bill every month 20-30 ringgit per house only.
Yeah, Brother Teo, my house 1 month about 40. Yeah.
So many of you using, your brother, you and your parent. It's 40 is cheap
Okay.
because electricity bill comparatively so much higher no. Your electricity bill how much?
Very cheap, about 50.
So cheap
Because
you don't use aircon
no, because my parents don't want aircon, and
Oh,
I'm
no
used to it lah.
wonder. No
Yeah,
wonder.
we are okay lah. But
My two house almost
uh,
600 something
60 ringgit.
600 something what
Oh,
60 ringgit?
oh,
One house 200 something, one house 300 something. It's
okay.
normal because we use aircon and we normally on the light because we prefer to have clear lighting. So to me, this type of utility bill you can afford. Don't go and save. But for you all, it may be circumstances different. Actually, 40 ringgit nowadays is very cheap for water. I always feel that the water rate are still very cheap. Electricity, of course, is not cheap. If people who don't have the earning capacity, actually electricity is quite tough. That's why what Anwar did was good. Distribute the bill for those who can afford, like the industrialists and those who use a lot one. They have their tier type of surcharge, which is very good. And the B40, the M40, where they couldn't afford so much, those who don't use that much per month, you will enjoy very low rate. Do you know if your electricity bill is only 50 ringgit, means you are enjoying the lowest rate, the minimum rate, the first 500 kilowatt hour, because that one I think is the kilowatt is only sub some, I think 15 cent or one, something like that. But as you go up, every 300 unit, it shoot up a lot one, no. My one came to 50 over cent, no. The last 2 tier, almost 3-4 times the lower tier one. That's why as you use the tier charges is higher, but it's okay because I feel that I should contribute where I can afford. So all these are something that we should develop based on our own understanding. So your utility bills are still affordable, cheap. So no problem.
Okay.
Let your mother use, don't worry.
Okay,
In
Brother.
fact,
Thank you.
the other thing is you must listen, Mayan. You should flush your WC more often.
Oh.
Do you know why or not? Because the discharge, if you don't flush with enough water, when there is a problem, when the sewage all gets stuck, you will have big problem. You will have to pay a lot more to ask the IWK to come and pump. And there is a type of smell on sometimes from the sewage pipe that come out. But if you flush very often, that's why my wife off and on, she will use a lot of water to flush it on, to flush it. Then after that, the smell all gone. So flushing is very useful. Don't go and save.
Okay. Brother, I'll listen to you.
It doesn't cost that much, and it's, I think, more hygienic. More hygienic. Don't go and save on the water, then all the smell, everything accumulate. Okay?
Okay. And lastly, Brother,
Okay.
I still can get upset and unhappy, but now I know why I'm upset.
Yeah, at least you are
I know.
aware, isn't it?
Yes.
So no problem. Yeah, these are habitual tendency that will stir and stir. But after your wisdom more and more stable, then one day you realize, it cannot already. We are rooted out already. It completely cannot already. You will come to know and realize that one day, that no matter what happened, you cannot panic, cannot worry, and cannot stir anymore. That is the time you will rejoice, really rejoice. What happened to the picture? Yeah, Manya, you continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I say, when I listen to radio, I can understand better. Then sometimes the feeling of happiness and gratitude is there, and then I would tell myself, oh, actually, radio very smart.
Oh, sadhu. That is very, very good sign of progress.
Yeah, really very smart. And he can pinpoint what is it that make us unhappy.
Correct.
That usually other people cannot really tell.
Yes.
And yeah, I
What are the
like
things that make living being afflicted, miserable, suffer? The wrong thought and all those things. The wrong understanding, the memory, the accumulated phobia and all those things. This one you cannot find in Dhamma book, I tell you. You cannot find.
Yeah.
This one you must have mindfulness to see, to develop the understanding. And people who listen to today's sharing of ours, they will appreciate it a lot. They will know, they cultivated the way can develop this type of understanding and Dhamma. Very good,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, thank you, Radio.
Thank you.
So the other day I was just thinking, in my life, most important person to me is my parents first.
Yeah, definitely.
And then next one will be radio lah.
Oh,
Because you know,
sadhu.
all the wisdom that you have passed.
Sadhu, rejoice.
Yeah. So that's what I want to tell you.
Okay, very
That's
good.
my
Let us
picture lah.
rejoice with all the good sharing by Manyan today. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now you will share all these merits with all beings, starting with the Devas. Akasata Bhumata Devanaga Mahindika Punyang Tang Anumoditwa Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasana Ittavata Chamehi Sampadan Punya Sampadan Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabbasampati Siddhya Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Devo asatu kalena sasa sampati hetu cha Fito bhavatu loko cha Raja bhavatu dhammiko Imina punyang kamina Mame bala samagamo Sattang samagamo hotu Yawa nivana patiya Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end the whole Zoom session. Sadhu to all of you for your good sharing and participation. Sadhu.